What's up, YouTube? Today I'm gonna go over the top 3 decks I think are great to try and play in PTCGO tournaments this month, so that you can raise your tournament rep as much as possible. You need tournament rep in order to play into the Players Cup, and you need tickets to get into that Players Cup. I personally I'm gonna try my best, but I don't think I'm gonna make it. You need a ticket. You need a lot of tickets for that, and the system sucks. How they implement it sucks. The fact that they have to rely on tickets, but you know what? It's better than having nothing at all from TPCI. But let's get into the top 3 decks that I think are very good plays. The first one, it's obvious. It's Pikarom. Pikarom, it's just fast and aggressive. It's consistent. It has energy acceleration. It has a lot going for it. It has energy acceleration in Bolton V. With Electrify. You can search for 2 electric energies and just attach them to anything on your bench. So let's say you see your hand and you're like, I'm not gonna get full blitz with Pikarom, so you can just go for the Bolton route and go, you boom boom, and then next turn you full blitz, or you just keep Bolt Storming until they knock it out. Bolt Storm is a great attack on Bolton. It can knock out a lot of things. This current list right now is from one of the top 8 lists that for the qualifier 4 that just happened with Limitless over the weekend. But if you want to get more into that and take a look at another list, I'll leave an e-card up here with my deck list that I day 2'd with at qualifier 3 as well. So you have several options. Mine isn't a tag call engine. This one is more of a tag call engine. Like I said before, you have a lot of things. You have Tapu Koko for, again, another energy accelerant / energy recovery. This deck doesn't run Zero Aura, but you can add Zero Aura for a free retreater. This, I think, was running anti-power plant route, and even play the power plant itself for, I'm assuming, to stop Oricorio and Blacephalon decks. It just has a lot. Pikarom has a lot going for it. Has big damage with Bolton possibility. You can switch in and out. It's big basics. It's just you have a lot of options for attackers with this deck, and there's a lot of ways to build it, and it has a lot of space to add cards that you think are better. So the next deck is this deck just won the qualifier 2. This is the number 1 list, and again, it's great. Zacian is just a great, just alone, it's a great card, and it's used in other decks, not just as an attacker. It's used in Blacephalon as draw power, control decks as draw power. But in this deck, it's your main attacker, and it basically leaves the ADP route, and just this deck alone just wins alone on tempo and just having great attacking power. 230 is a great number to hit, especially in a 2-shot meta. If you think about it, most VMAXs, right, they have 320 HP. So if you do the math, your 320, right, minus 230, they have 90 HP left. Let's say for whatever reason, and Malolana is a big thing, they Malolana their HP back up to only 210. So they're 210 left. You're still 2-shotting even after they Malolana. And you're also, you just prize trade a lot better with VMAXs as well. Like, when they knock out your Zacian, they're only taking 2 prizes, while you're taking 3, 4 even, if you set off Jirachi Prism. Jirachi Prism, again, this was one of my top picks for running in qualifier 4, but I wasn't comfortable enough with the deck to be able to pull off the combo as much as I needed. So, but it ended up winning the event. So the basic combo here is just you Oranguru, Jirachi back on top of your deck, and then you Mr. Mime Jirachi into your prizes. So, and make sure you have a bench space open, because as soon as you pick it up, you can take an extra prize. So it's basically an ADP, and right now at the current moment, ADP isn't the greatest card. It's too slow. So this alone, it just says forget ADP and just attaches boom, 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 and it just flies ahead. In it's just tempo based. It's a lot of tempo in this deck, and I think Sonia was the card that was missing when I first originally ran this card. This card makes the combo so much easier to pull off, because I remember when I was testing with the deck, I just felt there was just turns where I just could not find all three pieces for the combos at the right time. And Sonia it's great. You can just hold it in your hand and just like wait for the perfect time to get the combo off. I've played this deck a couple times already, and Sonia has already been a great card in the deck. Very unexpected. So yeah, I think that's another choice. Another choice, I personally think also as well, this is another deck that I think has a lot of potential. I call it Spirit Beast. I know my boy Atrocious Gameplay calls it the Graveyard. I call it Beastly Spirit is another name. Whatever name you want to call it, I think it's a great deck. It's a one prize attacker. But yes, this list does have Pheromosa Buzzwole. But I think the Pheromosa Buzzwole is a nice addition. You can jet punch something for 30 in the mirror, essentially making sure like as soon as Spiritomb hits like the 30 mark and has Hustle Bow, just jet punch it. And then Beast Game also allows you to take extra prizes. You take one more prize, so that could definitely that could be game winning. The Denny for extra draw. You have Tarachis. Jinx lets you move damage, and it lets you set up a Spiritomb a lot faster. And overall, this is another deck that I was considering for qualifier for, because it has a great matchup against Blacephalon. Great matchup. It has a very great matchup against it. The only thing is Dragapult is a little iffy, and I didn't know how to play against that. I was having a lot of trouble playing the Dragapult matchup, so I decided. And also another thing, I just didn't have, and I think I was having a lot of trouble with the Dragapult matchup because I didn't have enough reps with the deck yet. But I think as soon as I have a little bit more reps and figure out how to best play the deck, I think this is a good choice. It counters a lot of the meta. So I think this is more of it's more of a strategic play. It's not as aggressive, or actually it can be very aggressive, but it's not like Zacian or Pikarom where it's a lot simpler. I feel this, you got to be a little more strategic with how you place damage on your Spiritomb, especially in the Dragapult matchup. You got to be careful because they can just snipe Dragapults out. And take even multiple prizes per turn that way. A couple honorable mentions. Obviously, Dragapult is a great one. I have never played this deck before, just because I don't have the cards. The cards are way too much money, and I personally don't want to invest in the Dragapult cards. Right now, the VMAX is at 17 packs still. And I don't want to invest in a deck that's just gonna most likely die once rotation hits and once Darkness Ablaze comes out. But overall, this is still a great deck. It just has a bad matchup to Pikarom and also Blacephalon, I believe. I'm not sure how bad it is against Blacephalon, because I know this can spread damage and take multiple knockouts as well with Blacephalon. But again, the Pikarom matchup is very good, and I expect, especially with the League decks that just came out, people have very easy access to Pikarom, and I feel like it's going to be played, everywhere. So this is why this is it's an honorable mention. It's still a good deck, and but I still think it's not the best deck out there. And also, I believe that it has a high skill cap. I feel like this isn't the best deck to play, especially if you're new to the game or still mid-level, like where you're still trying to figure it out. Where I'm kind of still feel like I'm kind of mid-level, I understand the game, but I'm not the best player as well. Ignore the Zamazenta. From what I heard, this was just a meme card. This is this list that got also top 8 from qualifier 4. But feel free to take this list and use it. It's on Limitless. Again, the Giratina, nice damage ping and a Zigzagoon. This is the first time I've personally seen a Zig and a Giratina in the list. I prefer the Giratina. You can just spread a lot. You spread a little bit more damage. So, but I do understand the Zigzagoon is a little more flexible. Okay, someone's giving me a trade. I'll take a look at that later. But yeah, I think this is still a strong choice. It's just not my top 3. Another honorable mention, and Ultimate Mew. Ultimate Mewtwo. Ultimate Mewtwo was the deck I played. It wasn't this exact list. But the only reason I say this is an honorable mention is it's again, it can counter the meta, but from my personal experience, it's weird. It can run. For the Q4, I went 1-5 drop, and the deck just kind of lost taste for me. Because I don't know, it's weird. I was testing and I was running great with it, but as soon as I hit a tournament, I just bricked for the first 3 rounds, and I just had bad matchups. Blacephalon is a bad matchup in here, which I think Cryogonal actually makes that better. I for some reason ran Double Feeny and thought that made the matchup better, but it just didn't really help that much. The Double Feeny, it helped a little bit. It helped slow down their gameplay, but at the end of the day, they were still able to come out and win the game. So again, I don't think it's a bad deck, but I just bricked with it. I just bricked very hard with it, and there's things I need to change to my list possibly, but I still think it's a great choice. This thing counters almost a lot of things. You have to be careful with the Dragapult matchup, but Dragapult matchup, really all you really need is Mewtwo to use Soul Burst and get a Mega Sableye. You basically won the game once you do that, because they can't come back. You're hitting 420 for weakness, so that's already 3 prizes. You just need 2 attacks and you're done. So even if they do somehow take out a Mew Mew, you still have this guy they have to get through, and that's going to be rough for them to get through, because they have resistance. So you're only hitting 110. They're 3-shotting you. So you're greedy crush until the game's done. ADP and Raticate is definitely for the control matchup. You basically get Altered Creation and then you attack for free. 80 damage and you're taking 2 prizes. Xerneas is definitely for... I played the Guardian instead for the ADP matchup, which I can see the Xerneas as well being the better. It's because it's a single prize attacker. I thought the Guardian was a little bit better, and in my testing, I liked being able to move around the energy afterwards if I think they can KO me. Which this doesn't have that option. So there's pros and cons to both fairy options. But I do think this might be ultimately the better route to go, because it is a single prizer. So you're not taking as much hits. Pikarom, Mega Lopunny, and Jigglypuff, that helps the Pikarom matchup, as well as Marshadow Machamp. Reshizard helps with the ADP matchup as well. ADPZ or Zacian matchup, and just having Outrage is great. Outrage, it's you put a does this list play Big Charm? No, it doesn't play Big Charm. Okay, but still, Mewtwo survives a hit, and just Outrage just for knockouts sometimes. Dede, draw power, a lot of draw power in Dede. Vileplume for 180 is just a great, 2 energy attack straight from at the beginning of the game. Jirachi removes damage counters. You can do removes damage counters, removes weakness. You can play weakness guard if you want instead, but this might be decent. You know, attach a stealthy hood to a Mimikyu, and attach a stealthy hood to it, and Mimikyu doesn't affect this, and your Dragapult matchup is actually fixed. So actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's a great deck. Blastoise just one-hit KOs things and shuffles the energy back. So this isn't actually. I think this would have been a better list than what I've played. I think he has a lot more draw power than I did. I believe I played 4 Marnie and 1 Marnie, 4 Research and 1 Marnie. And that's about it. And 3 Dedenes. He plays 4. I don't. I guess you can switch this Dedenne for another Marnie. And honestly, this Vileplume, I had a Greninja for the Obstagoon matchup. That could also work instead because, you know, Vileplume is a little bit better, but that damage goes down as it gets more damaged. But then that way you switch. But then after that you switch to Outrage. So there's synergy with these 2 attackers with Reshiram and Vileplume. So that makes sense. But at the same, so yeah, there's a lot of options. This deck is very flexible in what cards you can play as well. Eldegoss gets back a Boss's Orders. Cragnole definitely helps out your Buffalo matchup. So yeah, this is another, again, honorable mention. It takes a little bit more skill as well to play this deck, and you have to know what to play in what matchups and in what priority as well. So in that sense, and I didn't have one more honorable mention. I wasn't planning to have another honorable mention, but I'm gonna say other ones. Goons might be decent. I don't personally like Goons, but Goons, it's a big basic meta, so Goons might get you wins, but it's also inconsistent. In a tournament round, I don't know if that's a good play. In 3 rounds, and you have to win. Let me see. Where's Blounds? Baby Blounds is all. Baby Blounds can also be a good deck. I think this is an older list. I think this is the list from Q3. I don't remember whose list it is. But again, this is most Baby Blounds have the same shell, different cards in there. Some play Gust, some don't. But again, Baby Bucephalon, to me personally, every time I play it, I brick. So I personally wouldn't recommend it, but it's doing great. So I think that could be, but again, it's a draw hot deck, so it might not be best to play in a tournament where you have to win 3 straight rounds to get the highest tournament rep. Okay, so those are my top 3 decks I think would be great in using it on PTCGO tournaments online. And possibly get you into the Players Cup. Let me know in the comment section below which are your top 3 choices, and let me know what you think about the 3 choices that I picked. Is there anything I missed about them? Do you disagree? Maybe you think Bucephalon is the play, and stuff like that. And just leave a like and subscribe if you're liking the content you're seeing right now, man. So I hope you guys have a good day, and peace.